Call us back into session. Thank you one and all. And again, we'll have a short session at this time because we have a meeting in about 22 minutes with Health and Social Services. We're going to begin now with General Order Day 2, amendments proposed, referencing ONCA 1677. Says an act to approve and refer to the measure on whether the definition of marriage shall be amended to include two persons of the same sex under Osage law, and to direct it to be placed on the ballot at a specific election, sponsored by Congresswoman Buffalo Hill. Are there any amendments to be proposed at this time? Okay, ONCA 1677 is advanced to third reading after endorsement. Moving on to 1680, ONCA 1680, an act to establish a summer program to introduce Osages to careers in the health industry at an early age and to appropriate $20,920. Sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Are there any amendments to be proposed at this time? Hearing none. ONCA 1680 is advanced to third reading after endorsement. Moving on to 1684. An act to provide an appropriation to the office of the Attorney General of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $1,618,412 and to establish an alternate effective date sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Are there any amendments to be made at this time? Congresswoman Edwards.
What's the number? Was on 84?
1684.
Amendment number 1, page 1, line 131, add section 7, congressional authorization. The Osage Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act, and authorizes a new position titled Assistant Clerk within the salary range set out in the position description filed with the Human Resources Department. Second.
And then second. Any other amendments to be proposed by ONCA 1684? Councilwoman Edwards.
Cut number 1 and number 2 are the same thing.
Page 3, 131.
Sorry.
Page 253.
Is 1684 the Attorney General bill?
Yes.
I read the wrong one.
Yeah.
All that one and read this other one.
And without objection, please correct
Page
yourself
2,
on
line
that.
53. Insert section 5, congressional authorization. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act, and authorizes a new position titled paralegal within the salary range set out in the position description filed with the Human Resources Department. Sorry about that.
I just have a point of order. I'm looking at the amendment note that's marked number 2 on ONCA 1684, number 2. Second.
And we should have more. Should have 2 more.
Oh, you seconded it, I'm sorry.
So that's gonna be amendment number 1, and we renumber them. Number 2. Don't know what happened to the rest of my little, give me just a second. Page 2, line 62, insert section 7, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, comma, such provision shall be of no force and effect, semicolon, but the remainder of the act shall continue in full force.
Second.
And a second. Thank you.
One
Any
more.
other?
Gotta find it.
1684.
Trying to make sure that all these bills get the same amendments. Page 1, line 40, after regulations, insert, and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A-101.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1684?
I need a copy of the amendment, please.
Hearing none. Moving on to referencing ONCA 1685, an act to provide an appropriation to the judicial branch of the Osage Nation fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $524,086 and to establish an alternate effective date, sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Are there any amendments to be proposed to ONCA 1685? Congresswoman Edwards.
Is this bill, I'm supposed to find,
Judicial.
I know, but I cannot open the wiki, so I have to go to the
Mr. Jesse, I just printed a document from the Senate. Could you step off the printer, please?
16.
To the printer, go pick up the document for us. Thank you.
What's the number, I'm sorry?
1685. Congressman Baker.
Do we need to recess?
No, I'm
No,
coming right
sir.
here. I just-
We're going into recess in about 12 minutes for the next meeting.
I got on my list, I just couldn't find the bill. Was number 2 the severability clause, the amendment before, I'm just gonna make them all the same.
Congresswoman Edwards.
Page 2, line 53, insert section 5, congressional authorization. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditures of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1685? Congresswoman Edwards.
Page 2, line 62, insert section 7, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, semicolon, but the remainder of the act shall continue in force and effect.
Second.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Any other amendments to 1685? Congresswoman Pratt.
I'm just checking, are you sure, because I'm looking at what's on the website, but I can't get into Wiki, or I don't see any of the bills in Wiki, but maybe a few of them. Are you sure those are the correct lines? Because that's not what I'm seeing. You may have an updated copy,
Right. Hold on.
so I just wanted to be sure.
Well, this one's done different.
Mine's stamped September 7th.
I know, this one's done different from the other one, I think. I'll leave it like this. Section, or page 3. Okay, I can change that one. Can I withdraw that one and change it to page 3, line 136?
Without objection, now repeat your correction.
It's page 3, line 136. And then the third one is page 1, line 41, after regulations, insert, and the definitions contained in 15 O&C, section 1A 101.
Do you need another second on
I
that?
do.
Second.
I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1685? Referencing ONCA 1687, an act to provide an appropriation to the Osage News for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $535,146 and to establish an alternate effective date. Are there any amendments to be proposed? Congresswoman Edwards.
I have to find them. Copy 1687. Page 2, line 53, insert section 5. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act. Second.
I have a second. Thank you. And any other amendments to 1687? Congresswoman Edwards.
Page 1, line 38, after regulations insert, and the definitions contained in 15 O&C, section 1A-101.
Second.
And a second. Any other amendments to ONCA 1687? Hearing none. It was 1687, that was the, you have a motion? Congresswoman Edwards, do you have another amendment regarding the severability clause to this 1687?
I sure do.
Thank you, Mr. Supano.
Page 3, line 135, insert section 8, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstances found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, but the remainder of the act shall remain in force and effect.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1687? Referencing ONCA 1688, an act to provide an appropriation to the legislative branch of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $2,445,930, and to establish an alternate effective date. Are there any amendments to be made to ONCA 1688? Councilman Edwards.
Section 2, page 39, after regulations, insert, and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A, 101.
Second.
And I have a second. Are there any other amendments to 1688?
Page 3, line 96, strike authorizes and.
Second.
A second. Thank you. Are there any other amendments to 1688?
One more, two more. Page 2, line 62, insert section 7. If any provision of the act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstances found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, but the remainder of the act shall continue in force and effect.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1688?
One more, I just have to find it. Oh, that's the one I read, that was the wrong one. 84. I don't know if I find it. There's two. Page 3, line 131, add section 6, congressional authorization. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salary/wages and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act, and authorizes a new position titled Assistant Clerk within the salary range set out in the position description filed with the Human Resources Department.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1688? Hearing none. Referencing ONCA 1690, an act to provide an appropriation to the Land, Commerce, and Agricultural Division of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $8,070,729, and to establish an alternate effective date sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Are there any amendments to be made to 1690? Congresswoman Edwards.
Page 2, line 53, after regulations, insert, and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A-101.
Second.
You have a second, thank you. Any other amendments to 1690?
This says page 2, line 53, but I'm sure that's wrong. Page 2, line, no, that's right, page 2, line 53, my first one must have been the wrong page. Can I withdraw the page number on the
Without objection and corrected, please.
Restate page 1, line 40. Now, number 2 is page 2, line 53. Insert new section 5. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any other amendments to 1690?
Page,
Congresswoman Evans.
page 4, line 172. Insert section 8, severability, and if any provision of this act or the application of any such provision, if any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, but the remainder of the act shall continue in force and effect.
Second.
I have a second. Any other amendments to 1690? Hearing none. I had a grand plan of stopping at 1:45, so with respect, we're going to go ahead and knock out this section of our agenda. Moving on to ONCA 1692, an act to provide an appropriation to the Health and Wellness Division of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $13,947,612 and to establish an alternate effective date. Congressman Shaw is the sponsor of any amendments to 1692. Congressman Shaw.
Speaker, I have a number of amendments, but they are distributed, so you have a copy, so you read those. Again, these are general order amendments proposed for ONCA 1692. Page 3, line 117, strike $2,567,999 and insert $3,190,000. Page 3, line 122, strike $5,071,077 and insert $5,297,224. Page 3, line 123, strike $1,420,871 and insert $1,484,235. Page 3, line 124, strike $145,931 and insert $152,439. Page 3, line 125, strike $758,272 and insert $1,836,683. Page 3, line 126, strike $57,487, insert $60,051. Page 3, line 127.5, strike $82,027, insert $85,685. Page 3, line 128.5, strike $262,952 and insert $274,678. Page 3, line 129.5, strike $1,715,728 and insert $1,792,242. Page 3, line 132, $882,997, insert $922,375. Page 3, line 133, strike $2,426,630 and insert $2,534,347. Next, page 3, line 135.5, strike $112,141 and insert $117,142. That was page 3, line 135.5. Next is page 3, line 136.5, strike $11,499 and insert $12,012 and adjust all totals accordingly.
Second. And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1692? Congresswoman Evans.
Page 2, line 40, insert and the definitions after regulations and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A 101.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Any other amendments to OSCA 1692? Councilman Edwards.
Page 4, line 78, insert section 5. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1692?
Page 5, line 75, insert section 7, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, but the remainder of the act shall continue in full force and effect.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to ONCA 1692? Hearing none, moving forward to ONCA 1693, an act to provide an appropriation to the Education Division of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $7,140,382, and to establish an alternate effective date, sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Are there any amendments to be made to ONCA 1693? Congressman Edwards.
Hold on just a second, please. I have these written down and they disappeared from my side. But I got pictures. Page 1, line 39, after regulations, insert, and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A, 101.
Second.
And a second. Are there any other amendments to 1693? Councilman Edwards.
Page 2, line 53, insert section 5. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act.
Second.
And a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1693? Councilman Edwards.
Page 4, line 175, insert section 10, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, but the remainder of the act shall continue in full force and effect.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1693? Hearing none. Moving forward, ONCA 1695, an act to provide an appropriation to the Child, Family, and Senior Services Division of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2017 in the amount of $4,154,438, and to establish an alternate effective date. Are there any amendments to be made to ONCA 1695? Congresswoman Edwards.
I need a copy of the bill. Please. How many notification bills are left? I don't know what copy is on. Is this the last one, of the division bills that you have?
printing a copy of 1695. Thank you to the Health and Social Services Committee for your time rendered.
Is there any more division bills besides that one?
I have it right here. Excuse me, I have to this to Congresswoman
Yes,
Evans.
you may. Thank you for asking.
No, no.
No. Thank you. Page 1, line 40, insert after regulations and the definitions contained in 15 ONC, section 1A 101.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to ONCA 1695?
I was just raising my hand. Page 2, line 53, insert section 5. The Osage Nation Congress authorizes the expenditure of salaries, wages, and benefits to pay current compensation of all existing employees as of the effective date of this act.
Second.
And I have a second. Any other amendments to ONCA 1695? Congresswoman Edwards.
Page 4. Line 185, insert section 10, severability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person, firm, association, corporation, or circumstance is found to be unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall be of no force or effect, if the remainder of the act shall remain in full force and effect.
Second.
And I have a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to 1695? Hearing none, moving on to ONCA 1697. An act to amend 15 ONC, section 1A-101, to add definitions to promote uniform use, meaning, and application to be used in all legislation, support documentation, budgeting, and spending, and to establish an alternate effective date sponsored by Congresswoman Evans. Are there any amendments to 1697? Congresswoman Evans.
Uh-oh. Where's the attached? Ah, okay, good. Page 6, line 45, after government, insert categorized as follows: salary slash wages, employee benefits, comma, supplies, comma, travel, comma, conference slash conventions slash special events slash meetings, comma, dues and subscriptions, comma, rental and equipment maintenance, comma, occupancy, comma, and other defined administrative expense not categorized as capital assets, period.
Is that a second?
I know we're not discussing these, but I have something written differently on the paper I'm looking at.
That top part's not part of it.
Second.
And I have a second. Any other amendments to ONCA 1697? Thank you. Moving on to ONCA 16102. An act to restrict revenue raised from the delivery of health services to expenditures on health-related services and to provide an alternate effective date, sponsored by Congressman Shaw. Any amendments to ONCA 16102? Hearing none, ONCA 16102 moves to third reading after engrossment. Moving on to ONCA 16-117, an act to amend ONCA 15-119 to change the definition of commercial property to limit the revenue into and the use of this fund to Osage Nation properties under 100 acres and to establish an alternate effective date, sponsored by Congresswoman Whitehorn. Are there any amendments to ONCA 16117? Congresswoman Whitehorn.
Yes, sir. Pages 1 through 3, strike all of sections 1 and 2 and insert the following sections in their place. Section 1, repeal of ONCA 1519. ONCA 1519 is hereby repealed by the Osage Nation Congress, and it shall have no force or effect in law upon the effective date of this act. All funds remaining in the Osage Nation Commercial Property Funds shall revert back to the General Treasury. In the General Fund in the Treasury upon effective date of this act. Section 2, alternate effective date. This bill is effective on December 31st, 2016, upon signature of the Principal Chief or upon signature of the Speaker of the Osage Nation Congress, following legislative override.
Second.
And a second. Thank you. Any other amendments to ONCA 16-117? Hearing none, moving on to ONCA 16-119, an act to provide an appropriation for cultural donations in the amount of $74,500 for fiscal year 2017, and to establish an alternate effective date, sponsored by Congresswoman Pratt. Are there any amendments to ONCA 16-119? Hearing none, ONCA 16-119 moves to third reading after engrossment. Referencing ONCA 16-124, an act to amend ONCA 15-80 and to provide an appropriation modification to the legislative branch for fiscal year 2016 and to establish an alternate effective date. Are there any amendments to be made on ONCA 16-124? And I don't have it noted. Who's the sponsor? Congresswoman Edwards is the sponsor. Any amendments to be made to ONCA 16-124? Hearing none, ONCA 16-124 moves to third reading after engrossment. Speaker to entertain a motion to go into recess for the purpose of engrossment. Congressman Supranov.
Was there supposed to be amendments to, it says resolution 16-115 and 116.
They're acts, and those were turned in, however, those are not on second reading.
What?
Those were not on general order day 2, those haven't been on general order day 2 yet.
Congresswoman Edwards.
We just suspend the rules, modify the agenda in place of ONCA 16-100, ONCA 16-115, and ONCA 16-116 on general order day 2 on today's agenda.
Can the move and repeat the bills.
16,100, 16,115, and 16,116.
Motion dies for lack of second. Speaker to entertain a motion to recess for the purpose of engrossment.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion signify by saying yes.
Yes. You didn't want to move those, but you moved on to the.
We are in recess.
We're in